Graders, it's Mrs. Thompson. We're going to start chapter 7, and chapter 7 in our algebra book actually basically undoes everything we learned in chapter 6. Now remember, in chapter 6 we learned how to add and subtract and multiply polynomials together. Well, in chapter 7 we're going to learn how to undo all those things, especially with the multiplication aspect, how to factor it all back out. Well, to begin our lesson today, we're going to start with just reviewing prime factorization of numbers. And I've just got two basic methods I want to show you. It really doesn't matter which one you choose. I think the more common one is the factor tree. The one that I've not seen until pretty recent, last couple of years, is the ladder diagram. So I'll be glad to show that to you. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the number 60 and we are going to find its prime factors. Remember, a prime number has exactly and only two factors, 1 and itself. We want to get to those prime factors where it's a prime number, not a composite number, which has more than two factors. Okay, so first, this is where we're going to start with the factor tree. Put the number 60 there and think of any two factors of 60 that you want to try. It doesn't matter where we begin. All that matters is that we end up with the exact same prime factors. I'm going to do this twice. In fact, I'm going to erase and write just a little bit smaller. And so I can do a couple of factor trees side by side for you. Okay? So I'm thinking that I want to start with 10 and 6. I don't have to start with 10 and 6. I could have started with 2 and 30, or 3 times 20, or 4 times 15, or 5 times 12. I could have done any of those. It doesn't matter. I'm going to start this time with 10 and 6. Neither 10 nor 6 is prime, so I'm going to keep going with my branches. 10 I can break up into 5 times 2. Well, both of those are prime, so I'm going to circle them. Hopefully you remember that from a long time ago when you learned how to do a factor tree. And then 6, I can break that up into 2 times 3, and both of them are prime. So my prime factors of 60 are going to be 2 squared, because there's 2 2's, times 3 times 5. Now when I do it again, I should be able to start with a different set of factors, not 10 and 6. In fact, let's do 2 times 30. I can circle the 2 because that's prime. 30 is not prime. So I'm going to keep going. So 30 I know is 5 times 6. Circle the 5. And 6 I can break down to 2 times 3. And as you can see, again, I've got 2 2's. So that's 2 squared times a 3 and times a 5. And those are my prime factors. So I just did it 2 different ways to show you that it doesn't matter where you start this whole thing. As long as you have 2 factors of 60, you can get started with those factors and just circle the prime ones as you go down. Now the factor tree is what I grew up doing. That's what I know the best. There's actually another method called the ladder diagram, and it's kind of like division, I guess. It's got an upside down division box, and inside of it we're going to put our number, and then we're going to pick any prime factor. It's got to be a prime factor, not a composite factor. So let's say we've got 2 and 60. Well, 2 goes into 60 30 times. Okay, well I can put 2 into that again, and that'll give me 2 into 30 goes 15 times. And then 2 doesn't go into 15, so let's go 3, and 3 goes into 15 5 times. So here are my prime factors, and of course 5 goes into 5 1 time. And your goal is to work your way from 60, whatever your starting number is, all the way down to 1. That's your goal. Get the bottom number. By the time you get to the bottom, you should have a 1 left over. And as you can see, everything that I circled here is the same thing that we wrote on that factor tree. So it's 2 squared times 3 times 5. Ladder diagram is not my favorite, but it's definitely something you can do if you've been taught that in your lower grades more recently. Maybe that's the style you like best. So it really doesn't matter. If you look underneath, I think they're asking you to find the prime factorization of 40. So why don't you do this one for extra credit? And I will check this when I check your notes, I'll come check this one and see that you did it. I'll give you 2 points for this one. Okay? So good luck. Thanks for listening.